Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 6 of Illium, our modded Cities 1 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Lots of fun last episode as we established the town of ASUS, our green city's waterfront district. And during that episode, we unlocked the milestone of trains, which is what we're working on today. Both civilian, intercity, and cargo trains will be added, alongside filling out the rest of the map boundary we have here, with more of our industrial-themed high density, alongside some more run-down commercial vibes today. Want to make sure that this port is respected with the kind of older industrial vibe that it has. Otherwise, let's play some Cities 1, shall we? Now we have trains in. We can remove the train station artwork, of course. What else would it say? And then we'll have our vanilla station in here. So we'll place it in and configure it how we like. So we'll take out probably all those, right? Leave that last section in, we'll keep it running up against the factory. And then just so we're mostly aligned and happy. Now that does actually still maintain its connection, which I'm not against it staying like that, to be honest. I was going to have the road going directly into it, so they kind of go in and straight out again. But maybe they'll be fine. This port's already busy. I'm banking on the trains today, taking a little bit of the traffic off the roads. Of course, let's hook this into where we like. Let's do a bit of node controller on this junction here. Let's push those red and blue so they're not colliding on the tracks, really. Something like that. Should be fine. So we'll wait for the AI to pick that up. In the meantime, we will use the concrete brush here, although not the biggest one. Let's just fill in the edge. I'm using the brush because I don't want the surface painter jaggedness to take over. I think there is some of it still lingering around there, isn't there? So you can maybe just paint the bottom of those tracks out a little bit. Don't mind a bit of a rough concrete edge. And then with this here, we'll pull it back. I think we'll have a little bit of fence detailing, almost just to shelter the general public from industrial freight trains. But we'll have a fence coming out of the building. And we'll just run this on an angle against the edge of the road, ideally up to the entrance of the factory, if that'll work for us. Something like that. And then it can open up here. I might even do just a tiny stretch of ore fence as well. Yeah, something like that. So that just sits really nicely in amongst the port we did in episode 2, doesn't it? For our first generic industrial area, I'm tremendously happy with how this looks and works. All very nice. But there we go. There's our first train station, people. Where are you going? You're returning to fine furniture. You? Recycling centre exporting goods. Okay. So my aim here is that the forestry trucks will eventually pick this up and make good use out of it, which will be good for us. And hopefully take some of the pressure off of this interchange, which is stressed, especially now we have the traffic coming over the bridge from last episode. Bear in mind, downtown Illium it isn't even in yet. So I think clearly already Illium's early traffic is reflecting we need more ways back and to across the water. Ferries probably won't do it on their own, but I imagine, I mean, where does this train line go? Just thinking the best way to cross over with train. There is one over here. Far out though, isn't it? You've got to come all the way out here. Interesting. I think I'll leave that one up to you guys as to what we do with an eventual train crossing. Because I'm not entirely sure what we'll do with it. So leave me some ideas below. But either way, our residential transit hub over here involving intercity and passenger trains will begin. The cemetery, I will need you. Let me just give you a quick reset. And then I'm just going to throw you over there for right now. We'll sort you out in a second. So we use one of Bad Peanuts stations for this, I think. Let's clear out some trees. And come into our stations. So if you don't have it, Bad Peanuts train stations, easily, I think one of the best content creator packs the game received. And it's this one we want. And I want something with a bypass line on it because we have quite a busy line here. So I think just regular old ground bypass will be fine, won't it? Let's place it here. Drop it there. We can delete the road. No need to mess about with all the alignments now because we have mods. Bring this into the middle. I might even use those tracks, you know, to extend out. I'll show you a little trick we can do with that. So set it to the same height as the rail node, of course. Now if we come in to find it, and we search for train track, one of these will be the segment in the middle. It will be named bypass, is that the one? Yeah, there you go. So this is the network that flows through the station, right? And because it's got the 4 tracks on it, I think it just looks a little more natural coming out. When we do get this bit here, we can use node controller to tell that it's a middle section. And it'll merge it together for you. So, nice little trick. Just makes your stations look a little bit different, I think. And same here, you can see we just want to go middle. And middle. Cool. Just so it extends that footprint of that 4 track running through the middle of the station, right? I think I like that. Now, we've got a really nice layer to play with here as well. So I'd like a plaza here, and I did mention rundown commercial as well, which I think a lot of King Leno's University City will come in quite spicy for that. So let's bring this out. We'll do a little 3 curve, and then a curve up to the station road before we network multi-slope this. So it's a bit even. That gives us our final layer. In terms of a plaza, I would love to have one of the level 1 uniques here, possibly the Plaza of the Dead. I think is what I want to go for. I almost want this to sit as part of the station out front. So again, we'll set it to the same height as the station. It's probably easier to terraform this as well before because it's a concrete bottom asset. It'll behave itself a little easier. So something like this. And we'll make a really nice station front here as well. See, but I'm pretty sure they can also walk out the back of this station as well, can't they? Which there isn't much point. Maybe a pedestrian into the forestry area. That might look a little weird though. We'll see. And then we use a retaining wall here as well. Let's go into the wonderful world of content creator keys. And we'll do the simple city key. And then we'll have this. Oh, do you know what actually? Let's use the stairs. Let's use the stairs. I'll have it run this way. And then up to the guide of the station as well. We can use move it. Let's just pick the key. Use the marquee. Let's set it to the same height as our buildings. Special. And then we can do that same trick we did a few episodes ago of just sharpening off the node. Which I think makes it look a little fancier, doesn't it? And then we can just tidy up that terrain around the bottom. Which I think I'll keep it to there, probably. We have to have some playing with some nodes and whatnot, but as long as it makes it flush, I'll be happy, I think. Cool. Now, of course, this is all walkable space for them. Because they will climb up these key stairs. So if we were to make this commercial plaza, which we'll get some buildings down here in a second, and then we run our pathway up through the middle. And then again, I don't think that's a snappable node, is it? It doesn't look like it. So I'm just going to preempt that and draw my own over it. And then the same over there as well. In terms of a road connection for you, we can bring that in around the other side. Will you connect to the, oh, you do connect to the station road. Okay, that changes things then. Something like that. And then let's go ahead and pull out our concrete brushes again. And just fill in that spot there, and probably down here. I'm probably going to bring another key there, I think. We'll just extend these bits out, and then we can have some nice fun with landscaping. Let's bring some content creator palms in here, shall we? Already now we can just see that starting to add just a whole different dimension into the build via the layer, right? I really like that. bring that key in just to hide this awkwardness here. Oh no, I think we'll use our stairless key for that one. Let's just do this one. Bring that right up to the corner. Again, let's square that off so we get that sharp edge, although not enough to encroach on the road. So let's leave it around there. And I think some nice oaks in these little naked spots there might be quite cool. Cool. So really nice little stadium frontage. And already people arriving at the station to come take intercity trains, we imagine. So this will serve an internal line as well, running from here all the way, basically all the way down this line, stopping at every major town and bit of infrastructure that lies along it. And then eventually it will also loop all the way back this way, crossing over. Although, does it cross over this direction? It doesn't. Does it? No. So we'll need to account that in. We'll have to bring in a directional this way. So then that train can cross over this there, all the way over the bridge, and then into the downtown train station, which I'm planning to use the glass box here. So we're getting a little bit of death care availability, does it? Yeah, do we have crematoriums yet? We do not. When do we get them? 13,000, okay, it's not too far away. Let's just give this side of town a church or a graveyard for the meantime, so they don't have to wait for the hearses to come across the river. And you are also missing not enough fuel. Okay, well hopefully the train import will help you with that. So over here at the junction, I think I'm going to change the road hierarchy slightly. And we're going to move down to up, I suppose. To a 5-lane asymmetrical road. With asymmetry facing into the larger junction. And this segment here is also very small, which isn't going to help things. So I'm just going to adjust these nodes slightly, just so each segment is a touch longer. Cool, see how they settle on that, just so they get that extra turning lane. And then we'll also make sure on traffic manager junction restrictions that they don't do any awkward dancing on any of these main intersections really. So they all want to turn in there, don't they? Just see how they read this need lane. Maybe when that backup's gone, they'll be slightly more well behaved. Should probably also disallow parking on this road as well. Let's do that while we're here. No parking on here. Do that. So yeah, they do a little bit of a stupid turn. Now you guys are waiting here for any particular reason. Just forestry trucks. Yeah, I'm moving through the port, just a bit of a backlog getting in. But yeah, I want to rearrange these motels here. So I think we're going to take it off the corner and then push it back up against the rail. So kind of a crappy place to stay. But you know, it's by the train tracks on the highway, so you can't expect the Ritz, right? So we'll fuse these two together. Something too dissimilar to that. Let's find a nice little happy spot for them here. Tucked into the corner. We'll worry about the road connection after the fact. And then we'll just push this out high strength. So we're all on the same layer. There we go, there's our first train people. So there's still quite a few pocket cars there. The bus is stopping, but it's not clearing them. Don't really want to add more vehicles to the road. These buses aren't full though. How far is the next one behind? It's only just down the road. We'll see how that goes on. The bus does make a dent in the crowd. I'd love to see them walking up and down this bit as well. That's so cool, isn't it? I love these keys. The ability to have retaining walls as well now is going to be just game-changing. Love a retaining wall. As well as bringing a no parking road here. And then I think I'll probably run this just straight down, back to the road. Now we can search for King Leno and basically get all the level 1 university city commercial buildings. They're all brick. They're a little bit kind of tatty and run down. Great for this kind of vibe. Not all of them, some of them are quite nice. But we'll use mostly the lower one stuff today. Just a selection of it. Happy to repeat some assets as well. I don't want too much on the main street. So imagine we'll twizzle these around a little bit too. So let's find a nice configuration that we're happy with. Move all these over to the side. Try and keep some concrete textures together. And then just slide all these into arrangement as well. So just arrange them so they look nice down this main street here. Also match quite nice with the Brooklyn and Queens kind of industrial workers apartments we have across the road. And left a little gap here too. The back of these buildings should detail a pretty kind of authentic alleyway anyway. But I like how it looks. Little alleyways down here too. You get all these kind of broken, knackered, sort of cracked decals on the front of these assets. Cool. So not quite as fancy a commercial spot here. That's still something pretty nice nonetheless thing. Around the back of here, I think we'll leave a little bit of kind of commercial delivery detailing, which we'll address in our time lapse today. And then this, I'll also move a bit further down as well. Something about there. Then lots of fencing and crates and props will detail this street corner for us. Quite nice there. Don't want too much on here because I don't want people stopping and starting. So only a little bit of commercial. There we go. That seems to have eased out a bit there, doesn't it? A little extra lane for them there, although no one's actually using the middle lane. So I guess it is still 2 lane, isn't it? Yeah, interesting. At least they're clearing there. And the people at the bus station? Yeah. That's only going to get worse, so a supplementary form of transit should be factored in. So to discuss that, underground metro is the most easy to integrate here. And I wouldn't mind an underground metro kind of linear line that just serves this coastline and supports the trains and the buses. I think the monorail infrastructure we've talked quite a lot about already is going to be limited to the more modern developments around this mainland here. The older industrial side of town I think will probably go underground metro. So let's maybe look at that now. So using it obviously much less frequent stops than the buses. But if we can get a metro station in, even put the metro station here and just bump the bus down. I could just put it in here to replace one of the commercial buildings. I don't need a wine and liquor store really, do we? So we can have that there. That sits very nicely on the main street, doesn't it? And then the next one, so the bus is stopping obviously pretty much every 2 blocks. We won't need another metro station until... Where do we want to stop here? This is kind of the next major town centre, isn't it? There is residential here that we should be wary of. This is just a space, isn't it? So there you go. That's perfect for another metro station. Bring that in there. And then the next one we will have down at the school and the park with a view to eventually continue it under the bay and into this next bit of development. Again, I think right in and amongst all the action. Maybe where do we want to put this here? Maybe even replacing another one of these commercial buildings. And we'll stick that metro line there. And this should be really easy to stitch together, just simple straight pieces. Cool, and we'll get that running alongside our trains. The trains will stop even less frequently than the metro. And being pretty much at the top of our transit hierarchy here for Illium. Super. So we'll see how much that siphons off of that bus traffic now. There you go. First people already going in. And, oh, there you go. Perfect timing. Hello, people. Oh, you all do a little circle. You all do a little circle, do you? That's probably because I drew the path back over, isn't it? That's quite funny. We might leave that in. I imagine all these were pre-programmed to take the bus anyway, so it'll probably take maybe another train or two to reduce this pocket car in, which is not helping the traffic situation down Main Street. We'll see. We'll see how that goes on. Whilst that does go on, let's turn our attention to this next block here, where I think I'd like to work in some more of these industrial kind of tenement workers blocks, you know. So we'll use our no parking roads again, and let's just create a bit of a road hierarchy here so we can place down these assets. Doesn't need to be anything too elaborate. And then I'm not going to keep it here. I want the overgrown rail to get back in. And then out this way, I think I'd also like to address the situation in the port again. From the things that we spammed down. We could possibly look at another way into the port here. I think I definitely would like to factor that in. Only reason because there is going to be another interchange. Probably here. As it comes down the gradient, we'll use the hills to create an interchange. So if they can get into the port this way, that's only going to help take pressure off of this. Which we haven't seen a cargo train yet. Which is worrying. I hope we don't have a train bug again. I know it can happen in modded CS. But I haven't seen a single one. I do know we're not connected to both outside connections here. So, although the train police might kill me, I'm just going to do that for right now. Just so I can see if one comes in from that direction. It's definitely connected, isn't it? Yeah, you can see the tracks running with each other. Now, if it does work, then we'll work out a smoother curve for it to make both directions. But with the port adjustments, let's have a look how we're doing for normal facility. Very nearly in need of water again. So we'll do another water tower near no pollution. 2 in here, haven't we? Let's add another one into the interchange here. Sewage is still fine, but we do have a sewage unit out here. So I'd also like to find a proper home for this. Let's bring our road up to industrial. The ferry harbour, I think I'm happy with it here, to be honest. Not too upset about that. I'll grab all these as well, bring everyone down to the height of the quay. And let's have our industrial road. I wouldn't mind framing this sewage plant against the road. Do we have a bigger one yet? And when do we get the big ones? Not till 26,000. That's still quite a while away. But we'll have them here. And every time we need sewage for this smaller side of the island, we can just keep this little modular sewage area. Try and align them, set them to the same height as well. Oh, you know what? Can we even make those little bridges connect? Oh, we can. Look at that. Isn't that possibly the best ever fusing? Not aligned, but it's fine. We can change that. Very, very small rotation. And then just realign it. Something like that. Yeah, and we can probably get 2, possibly 4 more in there every time we need the expansion. So, we'll have that there. We also dropped our bus depot over here too. Which will only ever need one of these, and there's no other likely transport buildings to factor into this, so we'll probably include a road maintenance depot with it as well. Let's bring this up off the road that the ferry depot is on. And we'll have our bus depot here. We'll also partner it with the first road maintenance depot too. And let's see if we can find a nice little alignment for these. Try and not force the fencing off the ground. Maybe even a little bit of an angle here. And then probably with some of our favoured concrete texture, we can just make this look like it's part of the same facility. Wouldn't even mind throwing in a taxi depot here as well. If I can find them, public transport of course. So we'll place our first taxi depots. We'll have 2 of them. That does unlock the taxi stand, which I wouldn't mind having a few of those by the station. If we can find a spot for them. wonder if I can get you to sit on the same road as the statue is. Yeah, looks like we can. Does that look weird there? The taxi wouldn't really pull up in front of people's parked cars, would it? Probably not there. Although maybe I can get away with it kind of part of the road. Oh, let's make sure we grab it with movement. Like a little taxi rank just on the side on the exit of the station. Yeah, it's pretty subtle. Kind of looks like a bus stand as well a little bit, doesn't it? This had much of an impact yet? How much is the metro getting a week? 201. Not too bad. Okay, here we go. Here's a fresh train of people. That's as they all do their big loop. Hilarious. Slightly delaying their journey. So it's still majority bus, isn't it? The metro is busy though, so I'm happy mostly with that. Okay. Look at all these people coming up here as well. Where were you? Are you all walking to the forestry area? You are, aren't you? Okay, well, I quite obviously underestimated how much they would walk to the forestry area. So maybe a pedestrian bridge from the train station to the forestry is justified. That's an awful lot of people walking to work. Yeah, they're all tree plantation workers. Okay, something to bear in mind then. As we come back to the port, we do have some more industrial demand. So I'm happy for the Port of Francis district with its industrial evolution to carry on. So speaking of that bridge coming down, this will definitely come off this road. Let's find a happy place in the gradient for it, somewhere about there. And as we force elevation, we'll have to clear the rails at about that height. We'll end the industrial road at this point after the ferry depot, almost kind of marking the end of the port, really. That's how I see that going. We'll stop the industrial road there again, make that all part of the same complex. Some industrial zone in here will be fine. I'm not too precious about what comes in, so happy to zone. With this, I think I'm just going to come down in a circle. It's a bit of a loop bridge. And then force that in. Give it a bit of manscaping. And then we'll just use network multi-slope to even out the awkwardness between the smaller nodes. So from here up to here. Let's grade that. This node, I'll pull that in. Let's bring that one out ever so slightly as well. Cool. It's a little bit elaborate, but I don't mind a occasional kind of spiraled bridge. That's already getting some use, especially from the taxis as well. Can't imagine too much of the main port traffic will take it until there's another interchange down here. But we can only entice them. Oh, there you go. As I say it. Forestry trucks coming out of the plant actually come down here. So I'm happy to see that. And yeah, I don't mind the bridge there. Bit of elaborate infrastructure to end the port. I've also just noticed that rail jank there as well. I'll probably use a retaining wall to hide that. But over here, let's jump back into the wonderful world of Brooklyn and Queens. You can, if you're in vanilla, you can quite easily zone a project like this. You don't have to plot for this, but I'm just going to go, I think, for some of my more favourite Brooklyn and Queens buildings. Just to keep expanding this footprint here, these obvious workers blocks by the industrial port. Imagine at some point they'll be in line for a gentrification project, you imagine? The city would probably do with stuff like this, right? And then we'll spatter it with some gardens for thin happiness. I definitely love some commercial in amongst this as well. I think some of this older emerging downtown stuff is actually going to be perfect for the vibe here, isn't it? I think definitely now we can include emerging downtowns in the kind of older style assets alongside the stuff we've just used from University City. This stuff definitely qualifies, doesn't it? then once we have that, that's the perfect space now to start developing this little neighbourhood with a pathway that cuts through the alley. I don't want to surface paint everywhere here. I think I will leave maybe some little overgrown sandy spaces. But this is very much the visual I want, right? Just some old buildings on the way into Francis by the port. I actually really like the hill here as well. It's a nice little climb in the building too, isn't it? So emerging downtown, you're essentially getting two different themes, aren't you? You know, you get like the modern sort of condo stuff we used in episode 3. This sort of stuff. Really is, we had someone in a live stream say a few weeks ago that emerging downtowns has ruined all the other content creator packs for them. And you can see why. It is probably the best, I think. Now we've had it for a little while, isn't it? Like, cool, so we can develop this, just expands the footprint we have here, of course. And then leaving town where we have the church. I think I'd just like to move here into some simple European suburbia. Although we'll likely just use the vanilla housing. I think we'll keep this lower suburb of Francis running. I am going to terraform. I'm also going to delete the graveyard as well. We will replace it because we do need it. But just going to bring everything down here to a more reasonable layer. We will soften, don't worry. Terrain police can hold their complaints. Just want it to be a bit smoother for the zone here. And then this stuff falling down to the rail yard will leave us just overgrown infrastructure land, right? Lots of dense bush by the tracks and the road, etc. I'll certainly leave the tree line in against the highway. And then let's bring in some roads here. Cool. So this will just get them growing. Let's also give them... I wouldn't mind kind of a pitch out here. One of Bad Peanuts assets, actually. Of course, it's going to function as a park as well, which will help people actually want to come and live out here because they won't zone immediately. Just a little pitch on the way out of town, and I think I'm actually going to unzone maybe this section and then actually downgrade into fast highway as the town of Francis comes to an end. This will of course go over here and probably provide some access to the rail yard. And of course that interchange we referenced earlier too. So as an idea of what I'm planning to do with future networks is we head down what is a pretty narrow, sort of awkward strip of land really. It opens up a bit more here. Our plans, I imagine we're going to have probably another significant town out this way to fill this area. And then we probably won't do too much out here with the interchanges. Obviously we need to add that train ramp in, but we'll do that once we add stations across the river. Of course we don't have the tile boundary yet either. And for those that missed it in episode 1 as well, I'll briefly run over some mod tips that I use here. So we're expanding the town of Francis. Let's bring this along the highway. And then once that is in, we can go to the town of Francis. I don't know if it auto applies actually. It doesn't now. So when you click on the district with the advanced building level control mod, which gives you this interface on the left hand side, and we can force historical for all buildings within that district. Meaning that all this stuff, the assets that we like, the level 1, is now historical without me having to click each individual one. Very handy little mod, advanced building control. So I recommend you get it as well. You can also force levels up and down as well. If you want to mess about from the simulation perspective, but otherwise just plop away. I think this leaves us in a good spot for some detailing. We've got some commercial stuff to finish off around the station, some industrial stuff around the new installations here as you tie off this new area. And plus a little bit of residential, forest and overgrowth, so it should be quite fun detailing time-lapse as the, I guess, the eastern edge of Francis rounds out back into the countryside. But let's get on with it, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little detailed review, shall we? And also pass over last episode's area as well. So the lower suburban end of Francis rounds out with a little park space next door to the pitch. Just a toilet, basketball pitch, some tables and a grill. Course which is all walkable thanks to the pathways just extended off of the pitch themselves. Around the train line we've got some overgrowth and surface painter where we've drawn in the new networks today. It just turned out very nicely indeed. I did also see a cargo train leave as well, so they are functional. I think Rebalanced Industries is probably delaying them significantly. Or at least waiting until they're full, so that's why they're so infrequent. Also added a med clinic just on the corner here as well, which is a really nice corner building, isn't it? And a comment, just already the terrain of Illium playing into the build already. We can see the descent down from the highway here, all the way down to that industrial waterfront, and I really love this view. Imagine when the downtown skyline sits behind this. This is going to be a wonderful viewpoint, and it'll only keep getting better as well the further we move back, as this coast grows out, right? So lots of fun to be had, I think. In the upcoming, very distant episodes, of course, downtown Illium is a big old way away yet. Dropped in the extra sewage plants, but turned off 4 of them, so we're not paying for them. So once that capacity drops into the Edo, we just turn one of these on, and this should last us for quite a while. But works really nice in a repetitive pattern, doesn't it? Those water treatment plants, very tasty. Fencing and zoning completes this side of the port before we have our bus and road taxi depot finished off with some little industrial spaces here. All lead into some very nice, just industrial happenings. With really love the view of the towers from here too, right? It's a really fun, nice little way to accommodate some service and public transport buildings here within the port space itself. And then this will go off into the rail yard, as will the rest of these networks over here. And the interchange, of course. Further down this way, we have all of our alleyways walkable here. There's some green space taking people up to the train station. And then also span around these basketball courts, so it looks like one complete court. And they are actually both touching the road, just about. If it was maybe a tile wider, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But just a fun little thing you can do with move it in those parks. You can do this in vanilla, you just have to draw the roads in first and be a bit more specific with your zone distances, but it is doable. Then there's rock retaining walls around here. Up on the station, also through in one of the little gazebo parks, and which is connected. It's actually sat on this road just about. If you move it any further away, it does disconnect. But yeah, it is functional. You can see people visiting it here. We just have a little gazebo outside the train station. And this might be one of my favourite ever station fronts we've ever done, just for a little suburban station like this. It's really a lot of fun. And also decided to go with an underpass by the edge of the station as well. The bridge just looked too weird, and because the highway is a little higher, made sense for the underpass. Detail this out with some airport, not airport surface, just general concrete surface. Park props, benches, lights, and whatnot. And then the other side, this comes up to a little fenced-in area where it arises out of the ground back into the forest district. Actually, very nearly centrally with the port mills, which I hadn't noticed until now, which is very nice. And it's getting a bit of usage. People using it to get... There you go, there's a cargo train with a lot of forestry products on it, you see. Illium's obviously exporting a ton of wood. The last cargo train had a lot of wood on it as well. Yes, and then over here they are arriving back to the station where they do use this side of the station. Don't forget that. Very powerful for moving people around. So this is keeping them off of those roads, stopping them from using the pedestrian crossings and whatnot down here. But a few of them are still going that way. But I imagine a lot of that is also the suburban walking traffic down there now as well. The metro ridership, we will have a look. 139 through this one and the bus line. If I can find the bus, there we go. Some down here. So they're pretty busy. Some of these stops are getting pretty gnarly as well. Yeah, that's the one down there by the station. But yeah, it is just busy public transit at least. But fun to see, and lots of people walking up and down the quays also this direction now as well. There's a pathway there. And this little alleyway behind all the commercial came out really nicely. So industrial or commercial prop detail around here, containers, bags of supplies and whatnot. Just a little alleyway that occupies the corner, and then removed some surface painter. Just added in a little overgrown fence corner on the road there too. So, and then the motels sat really nicely back in that corner, didn't they? So a really fun little commercial space. One of my favourite ones I've ever put together with the mods, to be honest. It just flows so nice with all the alleyways up to the station. Really, really happy with it. And then just some tree lines to bring off the edge to the rest of the build. Which completes the bulk of or I guess the end of Eastern Francis out here from this episode today. And essentially, you know, these roads here will mark the end of the town of Francis, at least on this side. And then in terms of what's happening last episode, I did say I want to do this every so often just to see how things are getting on. In-city bus stations here still quiet, but I imagine it will be until someone arrives on it. And then the ferries. Oh yes, look at that. Isn't that great? Let's watch a little drop off here. Fantastic. The ferries aren't even clearing the backlog anymore. And that's max capacity ferry as well. See if it clears it with 2 runs. Very nearly clears it. What's that? Ferry and trams working in perfect harmony from last episode, of course. Traffic down. Don't forget, this is highway road. This is intercity highway passing right through the middle of the city. Traffic is a dream here at the minute. So hopefully that will continue to be the theme. As we build over this side, which next episode I think we will be back over this side for the first campus, which is going to sit here. Should be a lot of fun. Very much looking forward, everyone. Indeed, to the first of the modded campuses of Illium, but otherwise that'll do it for today. Huge thank you to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos, with a shout out to our golden patron eggs: Casino, Spartan Angel, Michael W, Bad Wolf, Louis Adlam, Phoenix MD, Blythe, Jamin, and Great C. If you want to get involved in that, links to Patreon and Instant Gaming are both down below if you want to help support the channel a little further. But otherwise, thank you for your continued support of Cities Skylines 1 content. Please enjoy the cinematics, and I'll shut up and leave it there. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.